The PopCon group of tours want to install a Liz Truss style leader. My first question is, what is a Liz Truss style leader?
So this is someone who's drawn from the sort of IEA, free market, more libertarian wing of the Conservative Party. Their grouping was one of the so-called five families within the Conservative Parliament that call themselves the New Conservatives as well. So most publicly aware members would be probably Simon Clarke, who was Liz Truss's Levelling Up secretary, people that served in cabinet positions for all of 5 minutes under her, and took her leadership win in sort of the latter bit of 2022, those heady 45 days as a mandate to pursue a radical tax-cutting, more free market Thatcherite agenda. And of course, this is symptomatic of a political party that's facing an election defeat and a long spell in opposition, that they tend to tack to their extreme. We saw it with Labour under Corbyn. They moved very firmly to the left of the party. And the Conservatives are now looking to move even more. I mean, bear in mind, Rishi Sunak is himself a Thatcherite. You know, a lot of the stuff that Liz Truss would advocate for in moderation, he would agree with. But the scale and speed of it and the depth to which they went to, £45 billion worth of unfunded tax cuts, which was in that mini-budget, was something that was basically unforeseen. And at the time, it really did spook the markets. And that also, it combines with the sort of populist tendency to have a contempt for institutions like the Bank of England, like the OBR as well, the civil service. So in opposition, this sounds like very fertile territory for a Conservative Party that if you look at, for example, the poll that was in the Sunday Times at the weekend, reduced to 98 seats. Interestingly, the kind of scheme that they're centred on, this is the idea they could install Priti Patel, Boris Johnson's former Home Secretary, as the leader, that they say they could win the support of 70 Conservative MPs. And if that's the level they're building towards, they're anticipating the party being decimated from its current level of about 350. So they're basically admitting they're heading for a heavy election defeat.
Ryan, why would the Tories, the grassroots voters, why would they want to have anyone who's associated with Truss? She nearly crashed the economy.
Well, I think you go back to that leadership election campaign over the summer of 2022. They're the people who elected her, so they feel like they are akin to her values. And you always, if you are going to try and win a leadership contest, you have to play almost to their strengths. Rishi Sunak warned everyone about what would happen to the economy if they went ahead and chose Liz Truss. You had all his supporters, Dominic Raab at the time, countless others, saying, be aware. But they still back them. So that's what the Conservatives are just going to go through this, bonfire of ideas, as it were, just trying to come up with, try and find something from the ashes after this, probable election defeat whenever that happens. So. Yeah, that you have to, you're playing to different audiences. You've got the wider public, you've got the parliamentary party, but you've also, just to get there and put your ideas forward, you have to win over the party membership.
I just find it bizarre that anyone would want to have a leader who lasted less time than a lettuce in charge. Bizarre, but at least they're progressive. They've had a few females in charge.
There's a lot of it. A lot of it is to be said that they, a lot of her ideas, whether on planning reform, childcare, just didn't warm the markets up well enough, didn't warm the public well enough. So it's the sort of thing you do over maybe a few years, not 10 minutes.
Yeah. But as I say, they had lots of women in that party and they've got women in prominent positions. Unlike on this show, there's no women on our panel tonight. That's how we like it, just the boys.